Yeah, you already have that, Jamie. It's this thing on your name. Are you not seeing it? Counselor, you're now live.
Okay, now I am. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Let's call the Public Works and Utilities Committee for February 21st, 2022 to order. We have a roll call vote, please, Ms. Diaz.
Councilwoman Romero Worth,
I'm here.
Councilwoman Chavez,
Here.
Councilor Lee Garcia,
Here.
Councilor Mike Garcia,
Present.
and Chairman Rivera.
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, approval of the agenda. Any changes from staff?
No changes from staff, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. What are the wishes of the committee?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion for approval of the agenda by Councilwoman Romero Worth, second by Councilor Michael Garcia. We have a roll call vote, please, Ms. Diaz.
Councilwoman Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Chavez,
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Mike Garcia,
Yes.
and Chairman Rivera.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, approval of the consent agenda. Any changes from staff?
No changes from staff, Mr. Chair.
Anything committee members would like to pull? See no hands. What are the wishes of the committee?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion for approval of the consent agenda by Councilwoman Chavez, second by Councilor Lee Garcia. Any further discussion? Great. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Chavez,
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Mike Garcia,
Yes.
and Chairman Rivera.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We're on to item 5, approval of the minutes from February 7th, 2022. Any changes from staff?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Anything from the committee? Wishes of the committee?
Move to approve Lee Garcia.
Second.
Motion for approval of the minutes by Councilor Lee Garcia, but second by Councilwoman Chavez. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please, Ms. Diaz.
Councilwoman Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Chavez,
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Councilor Mike Garcia,
Yes.
and Chairman Rivera.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We're on to our presentation informational items. The first one, item A, wastewater management division update. Mike Dozier from wastewater is here to present.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I would like to just thank you for a few minutes of your time to share with you some exciting news from wastewater management. The New Mexico Wastewater Association awarded 2 of our wastewater employees with recognition over the year. Patricia Rosacker, our lab manager at Wastewater Management, with the Outstanding Lab Analyst Operator of the Year. And Raul Martinez, Industrial Pretreatment Engineering Technician Senior at Wastewater Management, with the Caroline Sanchez Award of Significant Achievements and Accomplishments. And Raul's not new to receiving awards over his career with the city, but this is probably the last one he will enjoy with the city of Santa Fe, as he is retiring next week from the city. He will be missed at wastewater, definitely leaving some big shoes to fill. And I do see him here on the screen. Mr. Martinez is here, and I'd like to thank you. And I would also stand for questions if you had any.
No, thank you guys very much for the opportunity, and that I've received there working at wastewater. It's been an awesome, I can say, adventure, because I do something very different that everybody else does at wastewater. I do industrial pretreatment, and if anyone's not familiar with that, look it up. It's kind of like a specialty job, and there's really no schooling other than pick up the books and get up and do it if you want to do it. And I appreciate, Michael, the opportunities you've given me since you've been there also. I don't know if it's watching up, could be in public access TV, but the main man that got me there was Chuck Lang. I'd like to, if you're watching out there, thank you so much, Chuck. You gave me this chance to be here where I'm at and a chance to retire. City of Santa Fe has been good to me. I can't complain. Thank you very much.
Very good. Was that the end of your presentation, Mr. Dozier?
Yes, it was, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, I know you turned your video off, but I'd like to thank you for your many years of service, spending that much time here with us and devoting a lot of your time to the city, the awards you've received. I know I've heard your name before, so just want to let you know how much we appreciate you, and definitely enjoy your retirement. I hope you have some big plans.
Thank you. I haven't made any plans yet, but it's going to be something new. And again, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Anybody else? Councilor Michael Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just as well want to congratulate Mr. Martinez on the award and all the best in his retirement. And I know he said he didn't have any plans, but hopefully there's some fishing in the future for you. But thank you, Mr. Martinez, for your dedicated service to the city. It very much appreciated, and wish you all the best as you enjoy the next adventure of retirement. That's all I got, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I'll just echo congratulations. Thank you for your years of service. Thank you for picking up and learning that specialty and giving us all the years that you have. Really appreciate it, and enjoy your retirement. Sounds like it's been well earned. So thank you.
Thank you. Also, I'd like to say that I've been in the same department since day one. I'm proud of that also.
Definitely something to be proud of. Thank you, Mr. Martinez, for your service, and enjoy some rest and relaxation.
Thank you. I hope that never ends. Thank you.
And on my part, congratulations as well. Kudos, and don't get bored too soon.
Thank you, Councilor Garcia. I will get bored real soon. People that know me already know me, and I'll be riding my bikes and doing the stuff that I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy retirement, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Dozier, is Miss Rosacker on? I don't see her, but
I do not see her, but I will convey the congratulations also.
Yeah, definitely. Extremely proud of her and her accomplishments as well. And sorry she couldn't be here, but I'm sure the whole committee would want to congratulate her, and please let her know that we're extremely proud of the work that she's doing as well.
I will. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Were you done with your presentation, Mr. Dozier?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions
Yes,
for
sir.
Mr. Dozier regarding wastewater? Seeing none, let's move on to item B, the streetlight LED conversion project report. Ms. Wheeler.
Thank
Director.
you so much, Chairman. We had our latest report in the packet. The project is moving along great. Cheyenne Ernst is here from Dalkia as well. And the project is moving really well. I got an opportunity to see maybe almost all the streetlights that were converted as I drove around in a snowstorm at 4:30 in the morning the other day. And they really look fantastic, don't they? That
uniformity and they're on the street, and it just was really excited about this project. So that the city lights are almost completely converted. We'll just need a couple more weeks to finish. And then, as you know, PNM is working through their process, and we hope to get them squared away within the next few months and convert those lights as well. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. And thank you for the report. Any questions for Director Wheeler or for Ms. Ernst? All right, see no hands up. Let's move on to Public Works overview. Director Wheeler.
Thank you so much, Chairman and members of the committee. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce you to the leaders of the Public Works Department. This will give you a chance to learn a little bit about more about what each of the divisions does in Public Works, and in preparation for the budget process, which will go fast and furiously and have quite a bit of information. So if the Public Works directors could turn on their video cameras. This is a really awesome team. We work really closely together to plan, design, build, maintain, and operate all the civic infrastructure in the city of Santa Fe. So we're the keep the lights on group for everything except garbage, water, and wastewater. So we take care of the roads, the signals, the street lights, the parking, the airport, the buses, the parks, the river, the rail yard, the Midtown campus. It's all the facilities, 100 buildings that the city owns. It's a huge job, and this team makes sure it gets done 24/7. You'll get a chance to hear just a little bit from each division director about what's in that division, so that you can get some clarity about that and meet the person. But I also wanted to highlight that COVID started in March of 2020. Almost everybody on the Public Works team was an essential staff. So we actually never stopped working. We had to modify our procedures instantly to be able to be COVID safe while we were out keeping the lights on for the city. And then in September 2020, due to budgetary constraints that were imposed by the pandemic, there was a reorg, and also we lost and froze some positions. So this team has been doing double and triple and quadruple duty ever since then, and continues to do it to this day, as you could see by the overview sheet that you got. Some amazing things that we did during COVID that maybe some of you weren't aware of. We opened the Midtown shelter. Sam Burnett, the facilities director, got the dorms in a state so that we could run a shelter there. We isolated COVID people. We gave homeless people a place to isolate. And Tomas Martinez here, the transit director, configured buses so that he could transport COVID positive and COVID maybes and really share the responsibility with the fire department so it didn't all fall on the ambulances. So really fast work by this entire team. Of course, Sam oversaw the custodial team, which had to institute COVID safe practices all over the place. He also oversaw the capital team that got us some of the HEPA filters and portable air filters. We lost 2 division director positions in that change in September 2020. The streets division director was frozen. The transit deputy director of administration was moved over to finance. And then at the same time, our longtime engineering division director left, John Romero. And so we've been filling all of those gaps ever since then. And they actually we're still filling all of those gaps. So it's a really hardworking team. And so not only do we maintain and operate all the facilities, which you're kind of aware of probably, but we also do the planning and the capital improvements for the entire city, except for the utilities department's capital improvements. So we collaborate with all department directors, with yourselves, with constituents to hear about what the needs and priorities are. We create that list that goes to the legislature requesting funds. We also apply for lots of other funds. For instance, there's a lot of DOT funding that we manage those applications as well. So we're moving Santa Fe into the 21st century with sustainability, multimodal transportation, and all the facilities that meet the current and growing community needs. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Public Works team, and we'll just go in alphabetical order as it is on your sheet. First, I'd like to introduce Mark Baca, the airport manager.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Regina. So my name is Mark Baca. To those that haven't met me yet, I am the airport manager. I'm basically the liaison for the city, taking the city's vision for the airport, taking it up to the FAA, requesting funding from them, working with them closely to remain in compliance and run a safe operation out here. I also am the liaison with the Transportation Security Administration. We are a Category 3 airport out here, so we do have security rules and regulations that we have to adhere to. So I basically take care of them as well. I have an awesome staff. My staff of 3 maintenance workers. They're in charge of all the snow removal, all the pavement maintenance, all the lighting. So they take care of all that stuff. We were out just as early as streets department. I think we have a race to see who can finish up first between us and streets. So we take care of that. And they do an awesome job with just my 3 maintenance guys. I have 2 custodians that just take care of the terminal. We used to have a big issue with cleanliness in there, but now we're on top of it. So my 2 staff members for the custodian department is working well. I have administrative staff that is in charge of the badging process and taking applications and doing that. And they're doing an awesome job. They're staying on top of it. So all in all, a small little department, we're chugging along and keeping everything going. And like Regina says, keep the lights on and keep everything moving. So that's pretty much my spiel. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I'd like to add to that a little bit too. One of the things that, if you may or may not be aware of, just before COVID, we had like 16 commercial flights a day going in and out of our little tiny Santa Fe airport. And Mark has made that happen by hook or by crook over the years. Finally, we're expanding the airport to make it really much more feasible. They keep the airport open, whether the flight's going to land at midnight or 5 a.m. Mark makes sure that everything's available for that plane to land. And they do that every single day, day in, day out, 7 days a week. And then, of course, is also an emergency. A lot of emergency operations go through the airport, bringing people to Christus. So there's a lot of medevac operations. Mark supports all of that, partners really closely with the fire department to make sure that service is available to our community. So the airport's a really important hub, not just for economic development, tourism, quality of life for our residents, but also as an emergency response center. So Mark does an amazing job out there.
Thanks, Regina.
Any questions for Mr. Baca out at the airport? As the airport advisory board, I will say to Mark's credit is, if any of the big equipment needs to be run and they're having difficulty or they need an extra person, he's more than willing to jump on a vehicle and sweep snow or brush snow, do whatever needs to be done to make sure the airport's functioning. So I've heard of him doing that. I've seen him doing that. So, credit to him, whatever needs to be done to get the job done and get the airport moving, he's more than willing to do it. So appreciate you, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that.
All right, Director Wheeler.
Thank you so much. And then next on your list is the capital projects, which I mentioned. So this team applies for funding. We administer the funding as well. So we do all the reconciliation. So, for instance, back at the 2018 GRT bond, we helped put that package together by talking to, gathering input from a wide variety of sources, putting the package together, bringing it to the governing body, and then deploying those projects and reconciling the funds and administering the contracts. So we do all the way from beginning to end. We're responsible for the rollovers, the rollover bars, and so capital projects is a huge part of what we do to maintain this infrastructure and improve it and build new infrastructure. And then I'll move to the engineering division next, where I've been acting engineering division director for over a year now. And I couldn't have done it without Ramella, who is here as well. She's a senior project administrator. one of the 3 people in the city that got promoted into this new senior project administrator. And Ramela is hugely instrumental in partnering with DOT and leveraging DOT funding for our roads. That's a pretty huge revenue stream for us. She also manages the projects and the process, and she's been doing it single-handedly, which is just unheard of. So there's a division director missing. There's no supervisor. That's a vacant position. There's vacant project administrator positions. There's vacant traffic engineering positions. Like, they're all vacant in engineering. And so Ramela and I, with the help of a couple of contractors, have been really moving forward well on our streets. Actually, we have a lot of really fantastic multimodal projects underway to add pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure to some of our streets, to reconfigure areas, intersections, really important ones on the south side where there's lots of development going on. And so really targeted work. So transportation planning puts together the needs of the community to target that investment in infrastructure to where we need it the most. And another key partner that I need to mention is MPO, our Eric Ani and his staff. They have really helped Ramela and I out because they hold a lot of real deep knowledge about transportation planning, as well as multimodal infrastructure to get bicycles and peds safer on our streets. So we've been doing great work here, and really appreciate Ramela's extraordinary work. I don't know if you want to add a little bit to that, Ramela.
Thank you, Ms. Wheeler, and good evening, Chair Rivera and members of the committee. So as Ms. Regina Wheeler mentioned, we're kind of understaffed in engineering division, but with the leadership of Ms. Wheeler, we're able to manage 22 projects for this fiscal year. 3 of those projects will be managed by consultants, but the rest we will manage. 6 of our projects will be constructed this year. And we began constructing the Camino Entrada roundabout last week. We're very excited. We're managing about $80 million this year, this fiscal year. And we are still applying for funding this year. And we are anticipating getting maybe another $10 million funding for this year. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramela. And if I could add to that, this is the team that will be getting a lot of this Infrastructure Jobs Act money. So that, because it's so much of it is about transportation, roads, and bridges. And so that's Ramela, the engineering division, and Ramela and I that I'll be expecting to see a lot of more funds there, which is another reason that we're really engaging project management professional services to make sure that we have capacity to take a bunch more funds as they become available from the IJA. Should I pause? Any questions for engineering or capital projects?
Any questions or comments for Ms. Gloria Somas? Don't see any. Thank you. We do see the amount of work that you do, Ms. Gloria Somas, and you do a fantastic job. I saw when you were introduced, several counselors wave or put thumbs up or do something like that. So you are, we do recognize the hard work that you do, and we do appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Wheeler.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And now we go to our next hardworking Public Works Director, which is Sam Burnett. Sam recently, within the past year, became the Facilities Division Director. And because of the way things are, he had to keep all of his other jobs that he already had, which included the Midtown and Rail Yard Property Maintenance Manager, as well as he had recently been a project administrator. So Sam is managing capital projects. He's running Midtown and Rail Yard, and he's running the Facilities Division and doing a really spectacular job. And I'll let him tell you a little bit more about his work.
Thank you, Regina. Mr. Chair, councilors, good evening. Sam Burnett, Facilities Division Director. I've been with this city for about 5 years now. the entire time in the Public Works Department. I started as a project administrator. I became the property maintenance manager for Midtown and the rail yard, and I'm now working as the facilities division director. The facilities division is really made up of 5 distinct parts. We have a project management team. You're probably familiar with them. They're working on projects like the large solar project, the teen center, BC pool reconstruction, the rehabilitation of the Santa Fe train depot. We work, the project management team, as Regina alluded to earlier, kind of works across the city with pretty much every department and division with any, whatever type of work needs to be accomplished. We have a mechanical, electrical, plumbing section with journeymen, electricians, and plumbers, and apprentices who work throughout all city facilities, keeping everything operational for the most part. We have our moments, but we also have a custodial section. Regina mentioned them earlier. Obviously, we work through, we actually don't provide services to all city facilities. There is some kind of private custodial services taking place out there, but we do cover most facilities. We have a construction section headed by one of our senior project administrators who's a qualifying general contractor for the city. We develop our own plans, pull our own permits, and remodel or minor construction projects throughout the city. And then finally, we have a small section that manages the day-to-day operations at the Santa Fe rail yard and Midtown Santa Fe. So we cover a lot of territory. We're always very busy, but in a really remarkable team. Pleasure to be working in the facilities division and public works in general, and appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself and my team to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. And now I'd like to add to that, as part of these responsibilities, we're an integral piece of the Midtown redevelopment project. So we are overseeing, Sam personally oversees all of the planning for the existing buildings. How do we, should we decommission them? Are they ready to lease? He also interfaces with people that want to reuse the facilities. He's helping us plan for the future of the facilities. So that's a really big, now we're also working with the consultants on the infrastructure planning from a transportation perspective, as well as from a just utilities infrastructure perspective. So it's a big part of our, we're a big part of that project, and it's a big part of our facilities initiatives.
Thank you, Director Wheeler. Any questions or comments for Mr. Burnett? Seeing him from the committee. Yeah, Sam, just like Romello, we know that you do a lot of work, and you've had to pick up a lot of slack due to lack of staff. So you've taken on some big projects, had to switch around kind of midstream or keep some, and we appreciate what you're doing as well.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Wheeler.
Thank you so much, Chairman. And now I'll introduce you to Noel Correa, who's our Parking Division Director. And even though he doesn't have multiple roles on this sheet, the Parking Division just about emptied out over the last 9 months. Just a huge exodus of staff, frozen positions, 3 frozen positions, and then boom, a whole bunch of departures, and Noel was the only person standing many days in the past many months. We're rebuilding that team. We've implemented the new park system, but I'll just turn over the floor to Noel, and he can tell you a little bit about parking.
Good evening, councilors, and thank you, Director Wheeler, for the opportunity. I just want to briefly talk about the parking and my responsibilities. I'm the division director, and I oversee 4 units within the parking division. We have administration that oversees the entire parking operations, which includes accounts payable, accounts receivable, budgeting, managing contracts, overseeing all of the complaints, of course, that we get, overseeing administrative reviews for citations, making decisions, and responding to any and all inquiries about our revenues from the public as well as from elected officials. The other unit that I have is maintenance unit. This is a group of people that work for the parking division, maintaining all of our garages, parking lots, striping all of the parking spaces, managing meter repair, meter replacement, adding new meters, also collecting revenues from the parking garages as well. This group is also involved in removal of graffiti and all of the other unnecessary vestige and garbage that's strewn around in the garages. It's a huge task every day, and there are occasions when we fall behind due to staffing shortages. Moving on to the next unit, that is the meter coin collection unit, which is responsible for going out there, whether it's snowing, raining, or it's a hot summer day, collecting coins from the meters. These coins have to be collected. Otherwise, the little cups inside that hold the coins get filled, and there's a backup and overflow of coins, and people can't pay. The coins then are taken to City Hall in the basement. They're sorted and counted, and then deposited in the bank via Loomis. And the last unit that I have is the enforcement unit, which is the parking enforcement. They are the group of individuals who go out every day to ensure that the uniform traffic ordinance is upheld. They are also my ambassadors out there. They try to spread the goodwill. Of course, no one likes to receive a parking ticket, so we do get some complaints as well. However, this is a group that is citywide. They also assist the police department as and when we can, when there are accidents, directing traffic, helping with the food distribution, traffic control, and the list goes on. So with that, I'm going to conclude my presentation, which is brief, but if there are any questions, I am open to answering them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nolan. And I'd like to add a little bit, something that the counselors here probably noticed. The parking garages and all the parking equipment is under huge attack. We've been experiencing unprecedented levels of vandalism. It's a really tricky problem because you have to leave the garages open till 1 a.m. so that people can come out of the movies or out of the Lensic. And all that while, unhoused people utilize the space. There's vandals that move around in the space. Every single day, there are smashed meters, smashed windows, soiled stairwells. And so it's been a really, really difficult time for the parking team, especially with their understaffing. Noel is working to establish contracts with vendors to come and power wash our parking garages, but they have no staff and haven't been able to fulfill on those. So we're definitely working on it. We see what you see. It's a difficult situation, and hopefully, community pride and some respect for communal property will come back. But in the meantime, there's a lot of putting the pieces back together. Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Correa from the committee? I see no hands up. So again, thank you. I didn't realize that. I don't know if any of the other committee members did, that you were so short-staffed, Mr. Correa. So hopefully we can get you some help now that some of the mandates are being lifted, and hopefully more people start coming back to work. I hope so. Thank you for keeping up with everything you've had to keep up, you and your staff. Please thank them all on our behalf.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms.
Thank you so
Wheeler.
much. Thank you. And next, I'll introduce Melissa Mcdonald, our newest division director, who was announced just a couple of weeks ago. Melissa's actually been acting in this role, leading this new division that was just reorganized into Public Works in September 2020. They moved parks, the golf course, the MRC sports complex, and stormwater into Public Works. And Melissa took the lead of it back in September. And we're just really grateful. She's done a lot of great work since then. I think we're already seeing the difference. I think it's a great fit to have Public Works, to have parks in Public Works. I think there's a lot of synergy, and it's working really well, and largely thanks to Melissa. So I'll let her tell you a little more about it.
Thank you, Director Wheeler, Chairman, and counselors. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm not sure if people know that I am a licensed landscape architect. I think I might be the only licensed landscape architect that has run parks, so I'm excited about that, to be the first. I'd like to also say that I started my career in the city technically 6 years ago as a river and watershed manager. But previously to that, I served on the Water Conservation Committee under 3 mayors. I also was a vice chair of the POSAC, the Parks and I forget what it stands for now, but it's a new Parks Committee. And a little secret, which probably only a few people know, I also served with Councilor Villarreal on the Youth Advisory Task Force when I was 21. So I feel like the city is one of my passions, and I'm really excited to work for it. I also really think that my experience in the private sector and all the work that I've done with the city really makes me perfect for this role. It certainly is challenging, and I'm not perfect, but I try very hard, and I believe that I'm really able to link a lot of things that have been going on in the city for over 30 years. So I have a deep understanding of the Parks Division. We have over 100 parks. 77 of them are developed parks, and 23 are considered undeveloped parks. And so that means they're at different stages of open space, essentially. That equates to 2,500 acres. We have 35 playgrounds, 20 basketball courts, 6 multi-purpose fields, 22 basketball courts, 16 tennis courts, which you'll hear a lot more about soon, BMX tracks, and 3 skate parks. This also includes the MRC, which has a 18-hole golf course, and adult soccer fields, jungle gyms, rugby fields, flag football fields, and one of the BMX tracks is out there too. I also manage the pro shop and the restaurant out there. We also have a lot of trails. So we have Dale Ball and La Tierra. We have roughly 50 miles of kind of organized and planned trails, but then we also oversee a lot of the connector trails. So probably roughly 100 miles of trails that we oversee. Medians. I know you all are gonna have a lot of questions for me about medians. We're working hard to turn the corner. We have some great plans. We looks like, fingers crossed, we might get a little money from the legislature to really take on the medians this year. But you know, I have some wonderful people that work for me, especially on the median crew. They get up at 4 a.m. They get out there and, you know, dodge traffic, you know, in a safe way. They're very safe, but it's a really thankless job. And I think we're super fortunate. And I think we're going to continue to see improvements in that realm. So we have, you know, really a lot of hardworking people. I feel like because I have had a long history of working in landscaping and with the city, I just feel so connected to my team, and I just, you know, can't thank you enough. The Parks Division has 4 districts with their own crews. Between 5 and 7 people are on each crew, but then we have a horticulture crew, a trails crew, a median crew, and a turf management crew who does all the mowing and aeration and things like that. I also just want to touch upon a couple things that people might know that we do as well. We have 4 advisory task force, or bodies that we work with. So we have the, let's see, which ones? We have the Park Committee, we have the Municipal Tree Board, we have the River Commission, and we have the Golf Course Advisory Committee. And, you know, these are all starting up to meet again. They're really important committees, and we like to make sure that their voices are heard. The Municipal Tree Board just did a presentation to the Quality of Life Committee on our tree inventory project that they've been doing in the city for years, and it's expanding rapidly, and it's supporting our Tree Smart effort. That's a private-public partnership. And we do a lot of private-public partnerships in parks. We work with Youth Works, we work with the Santa Fe Watershed Association, we work with various people. So, you have to be diverse in what you're doing. And I think the most exciting thing I just want to end with is the movement of the river and watershed and stormwater section back into parks. I think this is just a wonderful opportunity for us to really support our water conservation efforts as well as our plant material. And I think that as we build this out a little bit more, working with water conservation, I think we're going to see huge results. And I'm really excited about taking that challenge on. And I think with that, I'll leave it up for questions. I kind of talked a lot.
All right, any questions for Ms. McDonald? Ms. McDonald, how are you staffed? Are you fully staffed, or how short are you?
Well, we are going to be coming forward with some requests for additional seasonal employees in the next budget cycle. We have a couple positions, such as a golf course manager position, which we're waiting for results on. And we have a couple operations manager position coming in. So we're slowly getting there, and we're almost there, fingers crossed. But when we come back at budget, you will see, especially in the seasonals, we're going to be requesting more.
All right, I don't know if the plan is, and this is from past experience, is that Ms. Wheeler and Ms. McDonald, that we probably need to start hiring seasonal employees now. If we wait till the new hiring or the new budget cycle, which starts in July, by the time we actually get them hired, the summer season's over and all that time is lost, and we get many complaints over the course of the summer because of medians, weeds, whatever the case may be. So I hope that's being looked at really immediately instead of waiting till the new budget.
Counselor or Chairman, yes, we are working hard to get those seasonals in now. And we also have some contracts to help support the medians.
Good, thank you. And congratulations on your position. I think you've done exceptionally well as an acting, and well-deserved. So I think you'll do a great job there.
Thank you.
All right, Director Wheeler.
Thank you so much, Chairman, and thank you, Melissa. So, and then last but certainly not least, I'll introduce you to Tomas Martinez. He is the guy that really has been holding down a very big fort. As I mentioned when I started, that there was a Director of Administration in Transit. That position was taken in September 2020. So he became the sole director over the largest division itself in Public Works with 120 employees in transit. And then since our Streets Division Director position was frozen at the same time, he became the acting director at Streets, doing a really great job leading that team with the partnership of Felipe Trujillo, who's the superintendent there. And so I'll let Tomas tell you a little bit about transit and streets.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and councilors. Tomas Martinez, I'm the director for transit. We typically have 123 employees. We're right at about 80 currently. We run 12 routes. We've had to do a little bit of adjusting due to us being short-staffed to get through the pandemic. We did also outfit a couple buses to help everybody transport the COVID patients, get them back and forth safely to the hospitals to help keep the spread from happening. I have an excellent crew at transit that we're pretty much self-housed. We do all our own maintenance. We do all our own cleaning. We have a bus stop crew that maintains the buses. It's a full one-stop shop over there, and I have an excellent team that helps me hold it together. And then at Streets, we maintain about 1,400 lane miles of paved road and about 800 miles of dirt road, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,200 storm drains with a crew of 26 currently. And They're an awesome crew. We also maintain the street cut permits and sidewalk issues. And so I have an awesome team of inspectors and you name it, equipment operators, everything. And those guys all help me keep everything safe. We do all your snow removal when the snow comes, which get ready again Thursday.
Thank you so much, Tomas. And then also, of course, Mark Brooks, who does our repaving projects that the governing body has been so supportive of to upgrade our pavement across town. He works for Tomas as well in the streets division. Yeah, and those guys just, take care of our roads on a daily basis and our storm drains. So thank you so much for that. And then one thing that we should also add, Melissa reminded us that there are other committees that do advise into public works. And one of them, of course, is the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And I know that Councilor Garcia, I believe, is the chair of that. And that's been really instrumental and key in our transition to multimodal transportation. As well as, we also have the Mayor's Committee on Disabilities that advises into our engineering team as well. So we are, grateful for the engagement of the public in our work as well. Thank you so much, Chairman. I think that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Were there any questions for Mr. Martinez from the committee or comments? Councilwoman Chavez.
Thank you, Chair. I think I just have overall comments. I'm a mother of two. So I always get those questions that we often miss of like, well, who cleans our streets and who turns on the lights at night and who, does all of these things that we often take for granted. And I have met many of you and heard about your dedication already to our city. And so just thank you for allowing me the opportunity to explain to my kids what wonderful people we have working to keep the lights on and our city moving forward, especially during such rough times. I am in education and we see really difficult challenges and we make things work. And I see that with you, you are short-staffed. You don't have as much hands needed to get the job done. And despite complaints or negative publicity, you keep your head up high and you serve our city. And I feel like I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really, really thanks for creating a city that my kids could grow up safely in, that we could be proud to live in. Just know that we see the work you're doing. We see how much love you have. Every single person I've talked to in meetings one-on-one do two things. They tell me how much they love Santa Fe and they tell me how much they love their team. And so having a leadership that makes sure to emphasize like this is the work that's being done is because of my team. They're amazing people. You shower them with appreciation, with acknowledgement. I want to thank you, but I also just want to acknowledge what great leaders you are. And again, thanks for keeping Santa Fe going forward, no matter what, despite challenges. You're keeping the lights on for us, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Councilor Chavez.
Thank you, Councilwoman Chavez. Anyone else? See no other hands. So is that it, Director Wheeler, or was there more?
It is. Thank you, Chairman. That's it.
Very good. Thank you. And thank you for bringing this onto the agenda. It was good to meet everybody and again, get reacquainted with who's there. And again, we have two brand new counselors that may or may not know everyone involved. So it was great to be able to do this. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chairman and committee.
Definitely. We have no action items for discussion. Any matters from staff?
I have no matters from, gosh, I wonder if I should say this. So Chairman, sort of as a follow-up to the last presentation, we do have a plan to do some further reorganizing in public works to respond to what we've learned over the last couple of years. And one of those big changes is going to be to combine the engineering and the streets division into one. And what that does is that puts together the team that designs and builds the roads with the team that operates and maintains them. And it makes a really good, everybody, all the leadership in the both teams is really excited about this. It gives a field component and expertise to the engineering side, and vice versa. It gives the field people the support of the engineering side as well. So we think that's going to be a really successful change. It'll create a division of about 60 employees. So that's a good division size. And we hope that it'll help us recruit a leader. Right now, we've been unsuccessful at recruiting an engineering leader, and we haven't tried for streets because it was frozen. But I think this is going to be a great change and help us move the city forward in multimodal transportation and improving our sidewalks and in completing our road projects. And so that is a plan that is afoot. And I have submitted a org chart to the city manager, the finance director, and the mayor and the HR director last week. And so we'll be doing some work on that and bringing that forward probably as part of the budget.
Thank you. Councillor Lee Garcia, you have your hand up.
Thank you. And I guess that my question just goes towards that is how close are we to finding somebody in engineering? I know that's a very useful position coming from the planning commission and now dealing with land use cases on the governing body, to be able to have that person for questioning. And how close are we with that? Is applicants, no applicants? What are we doing there?
Thank you so much, Chairman and Councilor Lee Garcia, for that question. Actually, so for the whole time I've been here, which is almost 4 years, and for some number of years before that, the city has been unsuccessful at recruiting a traffic engineer for our staff. We have 2 engineer positions that could fill that. They have never, for 5 years, they haven't been able to be filled. Not even for a minute. We didn't even and mostly it's no applicants. So what we've done is we've engaged 2 sets of professional services to fill that need. Wilson and Company has the professional engineer and traffic engineers, and they perform the review of plans that are submitted to land use for development, and they provide that feedback. And so those are the written comments from that professional services organization. And then we've also engaged Leroy Pacheco, who was an engineering supervisor here in the engineering division and retired. And so he does coordination between land use and the traffic engineers. And he also is the one that's managing our traffic calming project for us, so that he receives those requests from the constituents to look at speed signs, speed bumps, those kinds of things. We have 70 requests in the queue right now, but we are working through them systematically. I think more systematically than they've ever been addressed, actually. So my expectation, actually, Chairman and Councilor Lee Garcia, is that we will continue in that fashion for quite some time, actually. And so if there are gaps in how that service is fulfilling the needs of the Planning Commission, I really like to understand that more specifically so I can be sure to fill that gap. But I don't have any expectation of filling a traffic engineer position and either getting a traffic professional engineer on staff in any way whatsoever.
Thank you for the response, and I know that is just one of the biggest things in our city with the growth and with developments and things that come forth is that traffic comes up and trying to fit. I guess you say trying to put a circle through a square, and it just doesn't fit. And so we need to just know that those things from the professionals, but I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. And I might add a little bit about that too. One of the big areas of concern has been South Meadows because of all the new development going in there. And Ramella does have 2 big projects for improvements to the South Meadows Cottonwood Exchange, as well as Agua Fria South Meadows. And so we're going to be developing some one-pagers to describe those projects and show the design and the timing of those projects so that the governing body and the Planning Commission can have that information about the infrastructure plans for that area as they evaluate further development in the area. So, and then we do coordinate really closely too with the MPO, which does our regional transportation planning. And so I think there is a really tight loop, even though it's not staff. Leroy, Wilson, myself, and Ramella and MPO all stay very closely coordinated on what the growing and changing needs in the roadways are across the city of Santa Fe.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the committee? All right, any matters from Director Jones?
There were no matters from Public Utilities, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Matters from the committee? Councilor Michael Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'll come through, I'll send an official request after this meeting, but I'm coming with a request from BPAC to present in front of our committee. So I'll send an official request via email and see when we might be able to schedule that. I know we're looking at maybe March, but I'll work with you and your team, Mr. Chair, to get on the agenda.
Definitely, we welcome that presentation or whatever it is you want to do. That'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other matters from the committee? See none. Let's move on. Matters from the chair. I don't have anything except that our next meeting is Monday, March 7th. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.